Hello and welcome to episode 137 of the Book Wars Pod.
Pow, pow, pow.
This is absolutely our first time recording this intro. There's 0% chance that Kristen forgot to hit record the first time. That definitely didn't happen.
And that none of us noticed until a burb 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
We made it. We're
the look on
recording
Kate's
now.
face right now, y'all.
The good news
everything's
is
under control. Situation normal.
the good news is we would have talked about our drinks for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was only
So.
because we were talking about our drinks for a very long time that I
This
even
would be
noticed.
a much more efficient, abbreviated intro now.
I know.
So you're welcome.
Yeah, honestly, we could jump right in without missing anything, but we're
Let's
but
not, why
it's us, so
not?
we're still not gonna. We are going to read more of Queen's Peril by E.K. Johnston. We're reading chapter 12 through to the end, the second half of the book. But before we talk about the taxation of outlying trade routes and gay shit, Rana, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a cocktail recipe from Smitten Kitchen. I'm not drinking the recipe itself, but it
It's like, that's really
enacted.
impressive. Did you have to print it out first?
Yeah, imagine. I just digested the paper. It's actually, I can't think of words right now, but pretend that was a really funny joke.
You just
Anyways,
dissolve the
look at
paper in
this.
Everclear.
I was
Oh
thinking
my
of those like
God.
super fancy like restaurants where they give you the like broken down version of the molecules. It's like just steam. That's what I was imagining. But anyways, I'm not being funny despite Miranda's very realistic laugh. So I am drinking a drink that they call a cucumber. And I don't know where that comes from other than the umber comes from cucumber because this has muddled. Look at Miranda's like, can we stop recording?
They put the umber in cucumber.
Right. Oh, remember those great videos a couple years ago, Cucumba? Anyways, maybe not. Maybe that's just me.
No.
But okay, well, it was this guy in Jamaica who ran a Rastafari nutrition course center, and he would sing songs about like the nutritional value of different fruits, and it was really catchy and wonderful. And anyways, that's what I'm referencing.
That's
So,
amazing.
Do you remember the nutritional value of a cucumber?
I remember it had silica.
Oh.
I mostly remember that in his Jamaican patois accent, he called it a cucumba, and it sounded really cool, and that's what I'm thinking of here.
Nice.
Sorry, it's taken me 17 minutes now to introduce my drink, which is not worth quite that level of suspense. But it is muddled cucumbers and jalapenos and some lime and local gin, so Breckenridge gin. And it's delicious. Also, the ice cube thing in it was a little Death Star made of ice that I got for Christmas years ago. It's not as
Yo.
accurate as the box, but it's really fun.
I love
and
those.
It's cute. Yes. And I was telling people before that I have on our first recording, I explained my friend is here on a road trip now that we're all vaccinated, and she's driving around the country, so I have an excuse to make fun cocktails, which I don't usually get to do.
Again, your excuse could be a day that ends in Y.
Yeah, so when we recorded previously, Nothing Recorded, I mentioned that I try not to drink on weekdays too often, and Miranda gave the most perplexed face. She's almost doing it again, but it's a little contrived. Anyways, Miranda, what are you drinking?
It's a pandemic, man. I'm drinking a fucking whiskey sour because it's a goddamn Monday. And everyone takes a drink except for me when I said that. Pod listeners, I need you to know that. We
Pod
all
listeners
agree.
should also take a drink unless you are driving.
Accurate.
Yeah, also, I think we already learned that lesson. Don't drive while listening to this podcast.
Oh, right. You're going to run off the road. Sorry. Public health crisis.
Occasionally will be funny, and then it'll be a problem for you.
Mostly it's the shit posting, though.
It's true. It's true. Kristen, speaking of shit posting, what are you drinking?
Human shitpost, Kristen. I opened both of my beers at the same time, even before I forgot to record, because I didn't know which one I wanted, because they're both kind of malty, even though one's an IPA. I'm drinking the No Bad Days IPA from Barrel Mountain Brewing in Battleground, Washington, and the Noble Pilsner Seasonal Lager that has different hops in it that I don't know because they're in a Pilsner. And Rana, I just looked up what you were drinking because I was curious. And it's apparently a kind of traditional cocktail from India, which I did not
Oh, I didn't know that.
jack
Cool.
shit about, but it's exciting.
Thank you for that
Apparently
information.
Apparently it's a thing, but I can't really find. It's just when I Google it, it's just giving me lots of different recipes. I wish I could give you more of a background.
There's
but
not a
it's just
Wikipedia
like,
page.
yeah, but it sounds like it's from India, which is a big place. But it
Breaking
sounds
news brought to you
delicious
by
though.
Bookworms Pod.
India is
Famously a
large.
big place.
Welcome to the Bookworms Pod, where you learn such facts as there's a landmass called India, and it is large. Okay, I'm
actually
going
big.
on silent now.
Amazing. I just want to take a moment for Rana's like garnish game. You've got like a cucumber slice and a jalapeno slice on your glass.
Yes.
Like, even if I make cocktails, which doesn't happen very often, even if I have people over, I'm just like, just find something. Even if I make cocktails, I'm like, all right, here it is. You wanted it neat, right? Because that's how you're getting it.
This may be a surprise to everyone, but I am a very extra person. So, like, when I did my little, like, blood orange sangria a couple weeks ago, I, like, lined the rim with, like, pink salt on one part, and then, not too much, just a little bit, and then, like, squeezed blood orange into sugar so it would, like, rim it, and then I put the thing on. Yeah, like, I'm extra. It's
That's
just my
delightful, though.
personality.
Like, that just sounds very
If you're gonna
enjoyable.
do it all the way,
Yeah.
you know? But also don't if you don't want to. Live your best life. Garnish or not. But thank
Do-
you. I appreciate your
yeah.
your appreciation.
Do what's in your heart. Like, we
Even
did
if
a-
it's just slices of cucumber.
Yeah, we did like a virtual mixology class as like a bonding activity for some of the babies at work, and it's like, oh, you can do a garnish, like if you do this with your lime, and you can. And I was just like, I already made the drink while you were explaining it to us, because it's like, I think that one was like a bourbon ginger, but the other one was a whiskey sour, which I obviously make a lot. So I was just ready and like, no garnish needed.
You had already had the whole thing.
Yeah, basically. But I put maraschino cherries in mine today. So
It looks like a sunrise.
It does.
It does. It kind of looks like a funny looking tequila sunrise a little bit.
Like a really weird,
Yeah.
poorly done tequila sunrise.
Like
a
somebody forgot-
naturally derived.
Somebody forgot
Tequila
like the
sunrise.
top layer of for the life of me cannot remember what that last ingredient that goes into tequila
Grenadine?
sunrise is.
It's the
Grenadine, thank you.
grenadine.
Yes.
Well,
Somebody
that's-
forgot the
that-
grenadine, but
That's how you get this color at the bottom. That's the grenadine. It's not.
Yeah.
It's the maraschino cherries. But
It just looks like a tequila sunrise from a
with like
bar.
a touch of grenadine and a whole lot of regret.
this is just reminding me of I went to the first time I ever went to Vegas, and this was probably 10 years ago now. It was literally 10 years. It was 2012. Yeah,
That's 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
Math wars.
And I went with some friends from high school, and one of my friends was like very like we were in college, and so like one of my friends was like very into like drinking tequila. Like he was in that like college phase where he's like, oh, tequila is an upper, not a downer, so it doesn't get you as drunk. And I'm like, you're a fucking idiot, but whatever. And so he would like go to like the fucking casino bars at like 1:00 in the morning and like try to order like a tequila and orange juice, and the bartenders would look at him and be like, do you think we fucking have orange juice right now? Come on. It was very funny.
Oh my god, I love
you know-
that.
The orange juice that comes out of the gun at the bar is the most cursed liquid.
Makes Sunny
when you
Delight
mentioned
look
a gun and a
healthy.
bar, I got really confused for a second, and then I
Like
realized
the-
what you meant.
No, the one with the little buttons on it.
Yeah, no, I figured it out eventually. But at first, I thought you meant like instead of thinking America like mass shooting gun,
Yeah.
which should be my first thought. I thought of like those people in movies. I've never seen one in real life where they shoot the tequila out of a water gun. I was like, do they do that with orange juice in
It's like,
Vegas?
do they
Like,
do
what?
they do that at casinos? I think you got to
Like,
pay extra
damn.
for that.
Fucking
I've been going
Mormon
to
bachelor
tribal
party.
casinos. Should have been at Vegas. Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
it's a little funny
nice.
to me.
I love
Anyways,
it.
Chris, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking scotch. I'm drinking Glenfiddich 12-year single malt scotch. It is a very like nice and smooth, a little bit fruity, very like sweet honey overtones in it, kind of very typical of a Speyside Scotch. And so it's aged 12 years in Oloroso sherry and bourbon barrels, and then mellowed in oak marrying tons. So it's quite good.
Good. We love a little Glenfiddich 12.
We sure do. We sure do. Shout
So
out to
fucking tasty.
my friend Anurag, who got it for me as a gift. We love that.
Thanks, Brent.
I'm aware of that.
Oh, Kate, how we miss you.
Good for your friend. God damn, this is a nightmare.
Right?
Tell Kate I'll bring condolence or cake. I meant to say Kate. Tell Kate I'll bring condolence cake. Not, yeah, you get it.
I will. She doesn't know yet, but we're both very excited. All right, let's get it going. Before we jump in, as we mentioned last week, the organization that we are promoting while we read Queen's Peril is the Loveland Foundation at thelovelandfoundation.org. This one was selected by Kate, and the Loveland Therapy Fund provides financial assistance to Black women and girls seeking therapy nationally and partnering with various local organizations to help do that. So it's a really wonderful cause. And if you have the funds, you should give. So, as today is Lesbian Visibility Day,
Yeet.
Let's talk about some handmaidens.
You know, in Queen's Shadow, we got like a little hint, like, is there something going on here between the handmaidens? And it's like, oh, like we love a little soft gay shit. And then the entire back half of this book was just a great old gay time. Like, they were dancing, they were finally, like, sharing a bed, and I hope they were, like, cuddling or some cute shit. Then they had to sleep on the same cot in the prisoner camp, which is less yay and more yikes, but...
I have a bad feeling about this.
I don't know if I'm gonna get over... Like, this might now be my favorite Star Wars book. And it is in no small part because E.K. Johnston was like, you know what? Queer girls for everybody. Like, this, it's one of those things that, like, I mean, one, obviously I'm biased here. If you guys didn't know somehow, all y'all out there, I'm super gay. And we love to see... I know. I was surprised too, man. But like it's one of those things that it's especially in like the kind of written canon, it's a really easy thing to explore and like casually slot in. And we do see that a lot. Like things get casually mentioned, but here it's kind of at the forefront and it's a big thing that affects the relationships among the handmaidens and with Padme in this section in particular. And it's just like one of those things that's just, I mean, it's still casually done, but it's just like very normalized. And can you imagine being like 12 years old and reading this book? Like, I would have read this shit. It's like, oh, girls together. What? It's a concept.
I can't adequately describe what just happened on the video, so I'm not going to try.
I feel like it'd be
realized what I
inappropriate
was
for me to do so.
I realized what I was doing halfway through, and I did not like myself for it.
Oh, was that not intentional?
No,
Okay,
it
now
was
I see
not.
what
That
you
honestly
meant.
makes it better.
It was not. I was trying to just indicate that they were together.
Yeah, that
with my
wasn't what
fingers.
that wasn't what that brought
the
to
message
mind.
I received.
And then I realized how that might look. And
I was like, well,
we like to destroy the patriarchy and heteronormativity and, you know, nobody knowing that lesbians exist. So I changed that up. But, God, it's so gay. It's wonderful.
It really is.
Good job.
That's for you, E.K. Johnston.
And so, like, obviously there's two kind of... I mean, there's a lot of queer subtext, like, throughout the book with various characters. But, like, there's two major, like, relationships that are delved into. And one is... I'm going to jump to the bottom of the section on the outline just to confuse people, is Yane and Sache, which is just extremely soft and gay.
It's so good. Like, you know, especially if, you know, I mean, I mentioned, like, well, could you imagine having this book if you were 12? Sasha literally is 12 years old. And, like, this, she's exploring and learning about feelings for the first time, and she's not comfortable with it because feelings are the worst. But she's just like, ooh, Yane. And Yane's like, ooh, Sasha. And they're so soft. They just want to be friends and, like, you know, cute and shit.
I love that she has one line where she says, like, instead of breaking down what she's feeling, she just says, whatever it is I'm feeling. And I just thought that was so accurate for, like, being a teenager and being confused and not knowing how to name anything. Like, I just loved that. Even though it was just one sentence, I thought it was a great description.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for some of us, maybe had those feelings as adults, as a very whatever it is I'm feeling, because nobody fucking tells you. It's very relatable.
One thing I love about their relationship is there's no, like, I mean, there's a little bit of angst, but not really. Like, it's like, you, like, a lot of times in, like, YA and also, like, in adult books, like, it's just, like, an entire, like, book of, like, angst and will they, won't they, and just, like, depression. And this one, it's like, you know, there's the background of Sache doesn't want to be alone with Yane because she is a confused 12-year-old. But, like, for the most part, they're just, like, they're lovely and they're figuring each other and themselves out. And, like, Yane's like, I am slightly older than you, so I understand what you were going through, and I'm going to just let you work it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not angsty. It's like there is a bit of light tension.
Yeah.
Because, like, you got two friends who are into each other, you know? Like, and everyone knows that's going on. And, like, you can kind of feel it, but that's the extent of it. Like, they're just living their lives being soft.
I think in a lot of YA, it's like when there's a romance, it ends up totally derailing the characters and they make bad choices. But in this, once they leaned into their feelings, they were more supportive of one another. They were there when they're in the camp and they have to spread this message. Like, they had that sort of strength through one another. And I was like, oh, what a refreshing change for, like, a YA mildly romantic subplot. Like, I just thought it was nice that it was, you know, supportive and didn't turn into, like, what's she gonna think as I'm being tortured? Like, yeah. I don't know why I did that voice. It was very serious. But
I don't know if I'd be thinking anything if I were being tortured. I don't think... I mean, she was thinking things. We did get that. She was like, my friends before fucking these bitches. Because the droids were the bitches.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm totally with you, Rana. I love that we don't have the kind of trope of, like, these people are in a relationship and now that is a weakness for them. Like, now, like, they can't...
Yeah, that's a better way of saying it.
Yeah, but I mean,
Words.
I had that thought because of what you said. So, like, that's you get credit for it.
I'll take all the credit.
We
Erasing my
love to
white
drag
side.
Harry Potter on this podcast without actually saying that we're dragging Harry Potter on this podcast. Like,
I wasn't even thinking of that, but that too.
It's funny because I, like, you know, horrible person associated with it aside, I still enjoy Harry Potter for what it is. But yeah, like, it's, as you grow older and look back at those books, they are very tropey. They do, like, play into a lot of this very patriarchal, heteronormative bullshit that we are, like, talking about. And this book really is, like, very anti-Harry Potter in its relationships between the main characters.
You mean they're healthy?
Yeah.
They don't just yell at each other and be mad.
Not just...
Which, like, to be fair, is the mood, but also, like, not for 6 books, please. 7, however many.
As someone who is very Team Ron and Hermione, they don't need to spend 7 years hating each other. It's overkill.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's jump to the other relationship, which is, I would say, more confusing to the people involved. And that is between Padme and Sabe, which is not necessarily a romantic relationship, but when Harley...
Is it, though?
Well, let's hashtag let's talk about it, Miranda.
Yeah, I got some weird vibes there too.
There's definitely some weird vibes there. You know, we left off in the last section and on last week's episode. You know, Sabe was like flirting with the girl from one of the other planets at the dinner, and like clearly they're getting close in this. They sneak out to the concert, which is just
Side
like
note. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's
I was like,
fine.
wait, what book am I reading right now?
It was fucking great. But then, you know, after they do that and like, you know, the cover got blown, they had to go back to, is it a palace?
It is a palace, yes.
They have to go back to the palace. So like, Sabe didn't get to kiss Harley or whatever her name is.
Yes, that is her name.
I think it's Harley. But then, classic switcheroo fuck up, you know. Harley sees someone about the same height and weight and hair color and demeanor because they've all been fucking practicing to be one person. And she's like, oh, I had a good time last night. Like, you know, like turning on the charm, like, let's kiss. And then Padme's like, nope. Fucks right off. But then, like, after that, and I think it's more like later on in the section when they're on the royal cruiser, like, we get more insight into how Sabe sees things. And it's very, I think it's intended to her to be like, it's my queen. But I'm also like, babe, no. There's some gay shit happening here.
Yeah, so on like a sort of related and unrelated note at the same time, I didn't think that Padme's like rejection was that bad. She just said, "Oh no, I have to go now." Like that's really pretty light in terms of rejection. And then they're like, "Oh, you were so rude." I'm like, well, I guess
mean,
they are teenagers and everything is dramatic, but also like,
I mean, if
I don't know, I
someone
thought it
like,
was a pretty kind rejection.
if you told somebody you wanted to kiss them and they said, no, I gotta go, like,
I mean, then they didn't want to kiss you. Oh well.
I mean, would it have been better if Padme had kissed her? Like, the jig would have been up there.
Well, she did ask that in like a really weird way. So I kept thinking like, okay, Padme's mad because of like, you know, when you're a teenager and you feel like you need your friends to want to be friends with you and you need constant, maybe
Yep.
this is just me as a
You
sad teenager, but
Oh,
like
no,
I
I'm
need
with
to
you.
have constant affirmation that my friends were my friends and anything else. And I would be like, that's fine. But on the inside, I'd be like, they hate me.
yeah,
And
like,
so I kind of, sorry, what?
your best friend can't have other friends.
Exactly.
They can't
Like,
have another best friend.
They can, but they need to tell you everything about it.
Yeah.
And so I felt, obviously now I no longer feel this way. Thank God for adulthood, science, whatever. But I at first was getting that vibe, and then when she like very awkwardly is like, "Well, should I have kissed her?" I was like, "Whoa, whoa, okay." I feel like there's a lot of confused, different feelings going on right now.
That was a weird threat for you to make, but okay.
I mean, like, the answer, yes, for a lot of reasons. One, you could have kissed her. Two, that means that Sabe would have eventually gotten to kiss her.
But if she didn't want to kiss her, she shouldn't kiss
Well,
her.
no, then you don't kiss. But, like, you know, I think that's all, like, do I keep up the charade or do I just
Yeah.
bounce and keep
It's
up
true.
the charade? It, like, make this lovely girl hate my best friend / person who is definitely a little into me based on the way that she narrates her section.
I'm sorry, is this woman named Harley?
Yes.
It's like Harli. Yeah.
Wow, she
I didn't
just
somehow I didn't
really
read it that
did
way in my
that, didn't
head.
she? Well, that's so gay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, just
It's not subtle. But, like, sorry,
No, you
the
go.
whole kind of internal monologue for Sabe. Or actually, I think she's, like, saying, or yeah, she's realizing, like, what is the quote? I'd rather be second to you than first to anyone else.
Yeah, girl, please be first to yourself. It's okay. It's
One,
okay.
Yeah, like, no. Two, she's gonna go on to marry a disaster human. Fuck bitches, get money when it's legally appropriate to do all of those things and morally appropriate and, like, make your own choices. Make informed choices, but, like, go live your fucking life.
Yeah, it's it's interesting. So like I am like very soft and like emotionally stupid, and like whenever I read a book, I need it like if it's not like explicitly like they want to fuck each other, I'm like, oh, they're such good friends. Like I'm very stupid like that.
Oh, I'm the opposite.
Oh,
I
that
think
is-
everyone wants to do each other all the time in every book and show. Not in real life somehow, but just in media.
No, Chris, I'm literally just like you, unless
Unless
gay.
it's this.
Yeah, literally, unless it's like two queer women, female, femme characters. Don't give a shit about gay men, although I'm playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and like there's a lovely low-key gay shit in there, and I'm like, I love this for you.
Yeah, no, I like. So like when I was reading it, I'm very much like they're like figuring out like what their like relationship what their relationship is, and also like I'm very much of the like opinion that like friendships can be like much deeper than like romantic relationships possibly, like, and so like that's how I view their relationship. But I also like there's definitely vibes in this book, and like it is interesting to see like because we know. Obviously, in the movie, we don't see kind of anything from Sabe's perspective. And in Queen Shadow, we see that kind of where their relationship has ended up, where they're, like, comfortable being apart, but, like, are just, like, still, like, completely confident and self-assured that their relationship is, like, strong and they understand each other. And so it's just interesting to see, like, the formation of that. And I think for me the really interesting conversation between them was the one like before the Battle of Naboo, where like Padme was acknowledging the how do I phrase this, the like asymmetrical aspect of their relationship.
That was the same conversation.
Yeah.
It was a long
Oh
one.
yeah, it was. Sorry, yes, you're right. But yeah, like that one was like very much like acknowledging the elephant in the room of I can order you to die right now, and I would not and am not allowed to do the same for you. And so it's like it's like a bit of a fraught dynamic for like, you know, two women who weren't like as, you know, emotionally self-assured in their relationship, I want to say, as they are.
Yeah, and I mean, part of it too, like one, these are literal children.
Mm-hmm.
Padme is still 14. I don't remember how old Sabe is, but she's 16 at most.
I believe she's also 14.
Okay. And like there's a lot bearing down on them, but also like it's one of those things that complicates the relationship because like they are really good friends, and I like if they were to interact outside of like I'm your handmaiden / bodyguard now, I think they could develop a really good relationship. You know, given like the right circumstances and all of that. There's some kind of queer undertones that don't get fully explored. But like you said, it's asymmetrical. There's a power dynamic there. Like, Padme's the fucking queen. You're dressing up like you're Amidala today. Congrats. There's a really good chance you're going to die several times today. Like, every time they go do something, before they go, you know, meet with the Gungans, before they go, like, to the throne room to deal with that bullshit, Padme is like, you could die here, like, for real, though. And Sabe's like, yeah, shit, I'd die for you. And it's like, you know, I read that part as just loyalty, like, that is her job. She is obviously very dedicated and loyal to that, to Padme, the crown, to Amidala, but like, what weird vibes have to fucking deal with at 14, man?
Well, and I think we see them like mourn the possibility of a normal friendship when Sabe first comes on, and you know they're like giggling and like getting to stay up late talking to each other. Then as the new handmaidens come on, there's like that tension with the new people, and oh, is this really just a job instead of a friendship? But I think we really see them mourn that, you know, perspective normalcy in their friendship. Even at the concert where they're like, we can dance together and be friends. And I think that they like part of them really, really wants to get to have a normal friendship without having to worry about the political dynamic and the power imbalance and all of that. And I think they both know deep down it's just not possible.
You know what they should have been able to do? Have a really good and strong friendship after the Galactic Civil War between the Republic and the Trade Federation and the Separatists.
Guess who fucked that one up?
We're gonna talk about this much more next week because I really want to talk about what we want to see from Queen's Hope, which is the final book in the trilogy, but like you really see in Padme and Sabe's relationship everything that you don't see in Padme and Anakin's relationship. Like you see this mutual support, you see the kind of combined but also separate identities and the way they navigate that in a way that isn't codependent. Mm-hmm. And you see like just the kind of mutual emotional growth that they both go through that like obviously they're say what you want about the Anakin Padme romance, there are various aspects to it, movies, Clone Wars, etc., but we know how it ends, and we know what's shown in the movies, and it's not good.
Yeah. And like Rana was saying about Yane and Sasha earlier, like they like gain strength through each other and like they help each other grow and like be their best selves. And it's like that experience of, friendship, basically. Like, shit, that's what the whole thing is. And especially at this point in their lives, like, they're very much in a stage where they're, like, learning things about being a person. I feel like 14 is around where you, like, kind of start to... God, I lost the words for this. Be an adult? Not be an adult, but, like, start to recognize, like, what actual things are, like, can come from, like, having friends. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like learning that, obviously they are having this argument because Sabe's trying to kiss this girl, and then Harley tries to kiss fake Sabe, and then Padme's like, I'm uncomfortable. And, like, I'd be fucking mad, too.
Poor Padme has a bad history of having people try to kiss her, and she's like, I don't really like this. It's an unfortunate pattern in her life.
God, that's so true. Ugh.
She deserves so much better.
She really does.
Padme did deserve so much, just in every way. She deserved better from
sorry.
Anakin.
Next
We'll talk about
She
that
deserved
next week.
better
I
from
have a
George
lot of
Lucas
feelings
next
on
week.
this.
But yeah, no, absolutely. Any final points on this before we move on to the much less soft and enjoyable topic of galactic politics and trade routes?
UK Johnston did that for us.
The trade politics? Yeah, for sure.
Also that, but mostly the gay things.
Yes. So let's talk about the taxation of trade routes to outlying planets, as one does.
It's fun. Isn't Naboo in, like, the mid-rim?
I think it's in the outer rim. I want to say it's in the outer rim. Let me confirm
way
that.
closer in.
I'm looking
It is
up
way
now.
closer in than we
It's in
think
the
it is.
mid-rim. It's in the mid-rim. It is a bountiful planet in the, I don't know if it's Kamel or Chamel or Chamel or Kamel sector.
I
of
read
the
it as
mid-rim.
Chamel, but, like, it's in the fucking mid-rim.
Yeah, you're right.
Chris.
Fucking
We're
white
doomed.
mansplaining.
Well, I always
even
forget
right.
that because of because it's like
Crawl?
allegedly close to Tatooine. They're like, oh, it's much easier to get to Tatooine than Coruscant from here. I'm like, if it's in the mid, whatever, that's fine.
No, geography doesn't make
Space
sense.
travel.
Like,
Space geography
Is-
makes
isn't
no
it
sense.
astronomy, not geography.
like the Wikipedia or, like, the one map of the galaxy I've seen, it's all, like kind of like orbits that are all, like, very narrow on one side and, like, huge on the other side. And
well,
it's
isn't
like,
that part of
Don't
why there's
orbit
like that
shame.
age-old question of how long the middle part of Empire is for Empire Strikes Back? Because it's like, well, it could be like 3 months, or it could be like a week. Like,
Yeah, they
who
should have
knows
just said it was
space?
12 hours, like Rise of Skywalker. What could go wrong?
It's like 3 days. It's like, how many times do they go to sleep? That's how we know.
Yeah. Okay, so you are both absolutely right, and I am wrong. Naboo is in the mid-rim.
Oh, I didn't know. Google told me.
Oh,
I fucking knew it.
Miranda
Miranda
is
knew.
absolutely right. 100%. But jokes aside, we get that political context that we don't get aside from that one aspect of, or that one sentence in the crawl. And like, it's, we also see a lot more about how like, I'm like losing all my trains of thought mid-sentence, but how conditions are impacted and manipulated by corporate interest. And so it's interesting. It is a side of the galaxy that we haven't seen a ton of.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, yes, absolutely, there are corporate interests that are at play here, but it's mainly the Trade Federation. And again, this is like, you know, Palpatine's whole fucking thing is like he knows there's the chosen one out there, whatever bullshit. Like, and we do get, I will say, you know, we get those beginnings of it in like the interludes, especially in the first half of the book, kind of implying, and also dramatic irony, we know they're about to fucking invade Naboo. But like, from the viewpoint of fucking Padme and Naboo and the governor, like everybody on Naboo and everybody except Palpatine, like, oh, it's you know, there's some trade stuff out there. They want to do this, but then like all of a sudden Naboo becomes this huge focal point because they roll up and they're like, sign this fucking treaty. We demand you sign this fucking treaty. Do it. We promise it's okay. Do it or we'll kill you. And it's like, no, I don't know if they saw that one coming, because like those bills were not supposed to pass.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Same.
Yeah. No, it is very, I mean, like you see, it's a great way to show kind of the genius of Palpatine that, like, again, it's alluded to in The Phantom Menace, but because they're like, you know, trying to keep the secret, even though like everybody knows, all the viewers know who he is, they're trying to keep the secret for now. And we do see him like manipulating it much more, and that's why I really liked the couple of interludes or chapters from his perspective, because we do see him being like, I've already got the next 4 bills lined up. This is the one that's actually going to pass, and then it's going to fuck up the Trade Federation, and they're going to get pissed. And like we see him moving the chess pieces into place, and like we do see this complex political discussion that, like, on the one hand, like everything in politics is like somebody is going to, well, everything capitalistic politics is like somebody's going to get hurt by this. Who's it going to be? But also we see that, like, very clearly the problem here is not that people are going to be hurt. The problem here is that the Trade Federation is going to be hurt, and they're the ones with the army.
Yeah, so I just maybe opened up because y'all put a note on the outline, IDK Miranda. What was it?
Oh, yeah.
Do your shit.
Do your shit. So I did open the Senate is the Friends We Made Along the Way Google Doc, and the only movie that is fully fleshed out actually is The Phantom Menace. And so in terms of like what relates to this book, and you know, like I said, the negotiation was very sudden. It was not subtle. They rolled up, jammed the comms, said, sign this or we'll kill you, basically. Like, you have no options. But they, like, the blockade happened quickly. They showed up ready for it. They knew how it was going to go. A quote from the movie, if we blockade this planet, we can make her do what we want. And I think it's really interesting, like giving the context of, I mean, having this book, obviously, but like with the summit that Padme hosts in the middle of the book, and like, hey, we need more wheat. These other planets, like, very much trying to encourage like an intra-system trade foundation. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like
trade agreement, kind of.
Yeah, like
but
NAFTA
more
like
shit,
the vibes
basically.
of it. Yeah, but like a general environment of, hey, we can all trade with each other, and like they touch on the conversation like, all of our artists come here. Like, can we do something about that? Or like, hey, we don't have enough fucking people for seasonal jobs. Can you just like send your college graduates who are unemployed for a year and a half over to us while they figure out what the fuck they want to do with their lives? And it's a very timely thing for a blockade to happen, because it prevents all of that from happening immediately. And, one of the things I thought was really interesting about one of Palpatine's sections was he was like, oh, fuck, that summit went really well. We gotta speed this shit up. Like, oh no, she's doing a good job. I want to be Emperor. Go negotiate, heavy air quotes. Negotiate by sending a blockade and an army of droids.
It does one thing that becomes clear as you watch more of Phantom Menace, like after the fact, and really becomes clear in this book, is how much Palpatine did not expect Padme. There's an allusion to it in the movie of like when he's like something like, this is an unexpected move for her. It's too aggressive when she goes back to the planet. But like how he really does not see her as a strong leader. And like, there's plenty of stuff that feeds into that. There's the misogynistic aspect of that. There's looking down on her because of her age. There's all sorts of aspects to that, but it does
and
like you see in this book kind of combined with the movie how Padme really did delay his plan by 10 years essentially.
yeah, and something that was definitely alluded to earlier in this book is for the past however many 100 years or whatever, like Naboo has been a fairly, I don't want to say isolationist, but kind of isolationist planet. And like,
and they say that's because of the last queen they had, right? Because they mentioned a couple times that she neglected the relationships, the interplanetary relationships, and all of that.
Yeah, exactly. She was very much not about like trying to get. She was not trying to yeet this wheat.
Get out.
But it's also implied that like it's been that way for a while, and like that's one of the things that, and maybe she was like more aggressive about it because clearly there is still like the open exchange of ideas and culture, and like all the artists from whatever planet come here and this and that. But yeah, 14-year-old girl. Palpatine's like, I am almighty because he's the fucking like Sith Lord, right? Nobody knows as much as he does. It's like, oh, there is one child on Naboo who is intelligent and capable? What the fuck is this?
Yeah, absolutely. And then the one other aspect of politics that I wanted to highlight here that I appreciated that E.K. Johnston brought up is kind of Padme's naivete as well, because she's young, and that is exhibited in the movie by her reaction to slavery and being like the Republic outlawed slavery. But here it is fairly highlighted that she brought all of the different systems in the sector to Naboo and didn't even bother to invite the Gungans.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of those kind of institutional things, like the way she views slavery in the galaxy, like, oh no, it's outlawed. There's no slavery happening here. And it's like, cool, but no, that is aggressively not correct. And, I think part of it's the naivete. Like, part of it's the generations of fucking, like, just not dealing with the goddamn Gungans. Because they don't. Like, there's a Jar Jar passage in this. Or there's a passage that, like, focuses on either Jar Jar or the Gungans, but I think it is Jar Jar.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, the Naboo, they're cultureless or whatever. Like, it's clearly been a very long time since, the two kind of societies that live on this planet have really, truly interacted. And I think that combined with Padme's focus on, intrasystem trade, like, she's not going to remember the fucking Gungans. She's never met a Gungan.
But as a queen, I would think she should know, like, these other people in her world. I don't know. I definitely get what you're saying, but I feel like they're on the same planet, and, like, just because your people don't have interactions, I think she sort of still has the responsibility to be aware of their role, even if it was one sentence that said, like, the Gungans don't involve themselves in our politics, I'd be like, okay. But to just, like, completely forget about them entirely, I don't know. I think the only reason that I think about it, and I know she's a teenager and it's like she's learning, but is when she's talking to R2 and she's like, should I invite the Gungans? That's a great idea. And then I'm like, Art, really? Like, okay, sure. Well, I don't know. To me, that just kind of irritates me of like, hey, you forgot about these people, and now that it's going to help you, you remember them? I don't know. Based on history and, like, current life here on Earth.
Oh, no,
it
I
makes
think...
me uncomfortable.
I think it's supposed to. Like, I think that's very intentional from E.K. Johnston, that, like, it is a sign that Padme is not infallible, but it is, to me, like, the different, systems in the sector. And we know they're not all human, because I think Harley... I think she's described as having blue skin.
I think she's blue.
Yeah. So, like, they're
Another
not all
blue
necessarily
boy.
human, but they are humanoid.
She's a blue boy.
Um,
TM for real this time.
But, like, we see, to me, like, they're the proverbial, like, Midwestern diner voters, and the Gungans are, the non-white voters, like, in America, where, like, Democrats are always like, we need to reach out to everybody, whether they're white-skinned on the coasts or white-skinned in the Midwest or white-skinned in the South. We really need to make sure that we are prioritizing outreach. And to me, like, that, I do think it's intentional to show that Padme made that mistake of, like, having this massive blind spot of, like, half of her own planet. We don't know the proportions of the Naboo versus the Gungans, but, like, for all we know, half of the entire planet that she just has no idea what's going on with, to the extent that she forgot to invite them to a massive system-wide summit.
The thing, though, is I agree with all of y'all's points. Like, there's no reason for her to fucking, like, not do that, other than, being naive and infallible or non-infallible, whatever.
Just
Thank you.
fallible.
Tony, can you not?
Tony is interrupting her word stream.
Tony is infallible
He's
for
adding
what it's worth.
unnecessary
Okay,
prefixes.
buddy.
Just sliding the
Okay,
little fridge
But,
magnet.
so it's... Come on, buddy. Showing all of those things, but again, like, the Naboo society, and she is the queen of the Naboo. That was rude.
Miranda's getting attacked right now.
We just saw a
hit my
wild
face.
cat mauling.
She's the queen of the Naboo. And the Naboo, as far as we can tell, are an isolationist society. It extends to their system. It extends to the galaxy, for the most part, and it clearly also extends to their own goddamn planet.
But they still participate
Like,
in.
it's not an
They
excuse.
still participate in the Senate.
It's
though,
not an
right?
excuse.
And they still participate in like basic intergalactic politics, and I don't know. I see what you're saying, but I also think, like, if she has the foresight to think about. I understand that she called that summit because she wanted to influence trade and she wanted to think about wheat and all of that, and so the Gungans didn't enter into that in her mind. But at the same time, it's like,
They live
no, I know. I'm
underwater.
not saying that they're growing magical water wheat. I just think like if you're willing to reach out to these other people, you know, on these other planets, shouldn't you at least like have one thought about?
Yeah.
Oh, you absolutely should.
Yeah, no, Rana, I'm
just
totally
pulling
with
out my
you.
inner-
I think that it is like a very like as a reader an obvious blind spot of that she should have done that. And like because honestly, for all we know, like the Gungans eat something. Like presumably they don't just eat fish. Like
Seaweed.
Presumably they have some sort of like
They
have
have-
some sort of
they
things
have
that they can.
Sorry, I was very excited because I really like seaweed. I'm sorry, it was very
I mean,
confusing
seaweed's
out of
delicious.
context.
Don't be sorry.
I mean, I'm sure they have like their farming because like they don't just live loose
Yeah.
in the water. Like they've got their. I'm assuming, habitable air bubbles. They just like, hey, we love it under here.
Yeah, like like either
and-
like air bubbles or like aquaponics or something. Like I'm sure they're growing something. But yeah, like to me, I think that, and I think it was you, Miranda, who made the point that Jar Jar was like very surprised at how advanced the Naboo were, and like Padme in the movie is very surprised that the Gungans have an army that might be able to fight the droids. Like they're clearly not talking to each other to the extent that they like both kind of view each other as like these primitive species. And it's just
Yeah,
it's
and
I like that was addressed in this book, and as like Padme is the main character of this book. We all love Padme. Padme is easily the smartest character in the entire prequel trilogy, but she fucked this up.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that like, oh, it was a good idea to not invite the Gungans. Like, I'm a little bit pulling out my inner white man, and a lot bit like, there's a reason. Like, I don't agree with it, but it is very believable that she forgot to do that and didn't invite the Gungans. So
yeah, I do think it's believable.
guess that's the whole shit.
Especially they're trying to plan these 7,000 different aspects. I do think it's believable. I just agree that I think it was an oversight. But, I couldn't have been a queen at 14, so...
Like, the Naboo and the Gungan should absolutely be fucking trading with you. You live on the same planet, and this is like an off-world conversation. You already live so
And
close
even
to each
irrespective
other.
of trade, like, they should be involved in one another's international or intersocietal, like, plans and endeavors.
I mean, you'd think, but, like, clearly, the Naboo have that with the other planets in the system.
One thing, it was mentioned that like it's been something like 100 or 200 years since the war with the Gungans, and like that's the sort of shit, like as a nerd who loves politics and international relations, I want to, like, I don't need a whole book on that because that feels like overkill, but
I'd
like
read it.
No,
I
we could
want
use
just
it.
like an in-universe like
I would read
reference
it.
book.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like
I want like an in-universe textbook of of just like and this is the war with the Naboo, and this is like we know from the Clone Wars that the Mon Cala and the Quarren don't get along. Like all these different, like we know everybody's in the Republic, and especially in the High Republic now. There's the We Are All the Republic stuff that's going on. But like I want to know about when all these people hated each other.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. I want to put my...
I mean, I'm
Sorry,
sure
go ahead,
it's...
Miranda.
Sorry. No, you can go ahead. That's
No,
like
it
a real
wasn't.
point,
It was.
not
I was
mine.
going to make a shit post of my life and say I want to put my international relations degree to work in Star Wars by reading more books. So glad I interrupted you to say that.
Why do you think I have an entire fucking like Google Doc that is this is me analyzing the politics of the
It needs to be an
galaxy.
extra episode one day.
Oh, it's going to that's the whole idea. It's going to be, but like I only have like good detailed stuff. It's probably going to have to be like a
You need a panel.
Miranda
like a
solo
multi-part
special.
thing.
Miranda wants her own podcast on.
But no, it's like, how many people on this fucking podcast have like politics or IR degrees? Like
All of us.
Not all.
I mean,
I'm not
Miranda,
on this
you do, right?
podcast, but
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so
I was in the Elliott
three
school.
current talking hosts do.
Maybe you've heard of it.
I hate you so much.
Yeah. Sorry, that's a very inside baseball college joke. Also, thank you to Kristen for teaching me what inside baseball is.
Even without an IR degree.
Exactly. Oh, she's got like smarter
No, I know, I'm
degrees
just
than I
talking
do.
shit, but I can't see her face reaction, so maybe I'm making it worse.
I thought
but,
it was
I
funny,
mean,
Rana.
This has gone on a tangent, but like my joke was gonna be, I'm sure it's territorial shit, and then I was gonna make a shitty joke about the Mason-Dixon line. That would be a good joke, actually.
I like how you're
That also
defending
would've
been
yourself.
fairly
who
niche,
just said
though.
it was a shitty joke.
Oh, it is a very niche joke, but again, it's like my whole thesis of this Google Doc that we touched on, and when I was yelling about how the Republic is a confederacy. Because it
what you're
is.
saying.
Mason-Dixon line was established under the
you're gonna make
Articles
the
of
joke anyways,
Confederation
okay.
because there's a territorial... Well, no, there was a territorial... That's what it was. It was a territorial dispute. And, like, I think it was under the Articles of Confederation. Don't correct me if I'm wrong.
The timeline
like
doesn't
that.
quite match
I don't-
up, but
You're such a
Yes,
garbage
do you know what the
Capricorn.
Mason-Dixon line is?
yes, I know what the Mason-Dixon
I'm
line
not-
is.
I'm
That
not
is
positive you're right about that, Miranda. But well, we'll move on. We'll move on.
They absolutely established that boundary during the fucking Articles of Confederation. It was
This is
they
great.
had Mason and Dixon go out and do the little border because Maryland and Pennsylvania have had these fucking borders for centuries at this point. That's all I'm saying.
This
think
Google
she's
says that
actually right.
1763
I am fucking
was
right.
Mason-Dixon surveying, and that 1777 was the Articles of Confederation. So you were
Fucking Christ.
but you were close. I wouldn't have known that if you didn't
was more
say
right than
that. If you
not.
didn't insist on it,
I was
wouldn't have
more
had to
right
look
than
it up.
not, though.
You were more right than not. I will give you that. At least as how I was thinking of it. I will give you that.
Yeah, no, I can't name the fucking year. I can't name the years of the Articles of Confederation because I never read that whole book. But I would absolutely read a textbook about the conflict between the Naboo and the Gungan
Yeah, to bring it back.
to Star Wars.
Quick pause. So we're at 57 minutes, and this next topic is decently. I feel like it's at least like a 15-minute topic. Do we want to push it to next week?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. As Miranda very interestingly and dramatically eats her maraschino cherries.
Yeah, that was very like. Speaking of like the 18th century, that was very like 18th century like dignitary, just like finishing off your drink, pulling the cherry out dramatically.
It's national. It's fucking Lesbian Day of Visibility Day, whatever. You're being homophobic. Let me eat my goddamn watermelon sugar. That's a Harry Styles
Yeah, no,
joke.
we know.
No, I was clear on that.
Just because we don't
I don't
laugh
know
doesn't mean
many
we don't
current
know.
pop culture references.
It really wasn't that funny, but I guess Chris knows.
Listen, I poured myself a lot of scotch before we started.
I
All
had
right,
a whole whiskey sour before we started. It's fine.
There you go. Well, I haven't eaten dinner yet because I wasn't hungry. So
Oh my God,
that's,
go eat.
That's happening.
Sorry, that
Oh,
bothers
nice.
me when people don't
I-
eat.
I often eat dinner late. I'm not dying, but however, that is a perfect excuse to wrap it up here and push our last topic to next week. Thank you all for listening to this episode of the Book Wars Pod that we definitely only recorded all of once. Did not record any of it twice. It was completely spontaneous. All of our reactions. As we always say, continue to stay inside since we are still in a pandemic, but also get vaccinated if you're able to, so that we can get out of the pandemic more quickly. Next episode, we're going to be wrapping up our discussion on Queen's Peril by E.K. Johnston, and our next book after that is going to be, from a certain point of view, The Empire Strikes Back. We're very excited about that. Kristen, I want to say that you're going to be joining us as a host for that one.
Turn up the keek.
I love it. The Geek Strikes Back. In the meantime, Find us on Twitter and Instagram at BookWarsPod. Email us, bookwarspod at gmail.com. Why did I just forget Gmail? Jesus. And on the Tasha Station Radio Patreon. If you have the means, please, first of all, donate to the Loveland Foundation. And then after that, if you want to support us, you can donate to the Tasha Station Radio Patreon or give us coffee at ko-fi.com/bookwarspod. It really helps us cover our hosting and production costs. And we will keep the Argos, Cerberus, Jasper, Orca, and Tony content coming as you donate. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joe Butera Design. And our audio and production are done, as always, by Kristen McDonald. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the pod. For Kristen, Rana, Miranda, and Kate, I am Chris, and we'll talk to you next week.
Another happy landing.
Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze, but it didn't happen. Anyways, please cut that out, Kristen. I didn't want to do it on the podcast, so I muted and I made a face.